All right, today we're going deep. We're going to go under the hood of NotebookLM and really explore the engineering that makes this thing tick. Because it's not just another AI tool. It's designed to solve one of the biggest, most fundamental problems in all of AI.
And that question really gets right to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? The biggest challenge for any modern AI is what we call hallucination. That's when an AI just confidently makes stuff up. NotebookLM was literally built from the ground up to stop that from happening. It's supposed to be an AI you can actually trust.
So how do they pull it off? Well, it all comes down to a single, pretty radical architectural choice. And this one decision, it changes everything. It influences the entire system, and it's precisely what makes NotebookLM so fundamentally different from pretty much any other AI you've probably used.
Okay, so here's the difference in a nutshell. Think about most AIs. They're trained on the entire internet. I mean everything. The good, the bad, the outright wrong. It's a messy, chaotic library. NotebookLM, on the other hand, is completely different. It operates in what's called a closed corpus. That's just a fancy way of saying it is strictly locked down to the documents you give it and nothing else.
And this whole concept has a name: source grounding. This is the absolute core of the entire system. It means that every single answer, every summary, every idea that the AI comes up with has to be tied directly back to the info you gave it. It's like putting a leash on the AI so it can't wander off and invent things. This is how NotebookLM makes sure its answers are trustworthy. It's a huge deal, really. It means you can finally trust what your AI assistant is telling you.
But okay, for this to work, NotebookLM has to handle a ton of your information and still stay grounded. So how does it do that? Well, the answer lies in its engine, the powerhouse that is Google's Gemini model.
Yeah, 1 million tokens. Let's just let that number sink in for a second. A token is roughly 3/4 of a word. So we're talking about the ability to process something like 700,000 words. That's like 7 average novels. And here's the crazy part. It sees them all at once, not one after the other, but in a single massive view.
And this chart really puts it into perspective. This context window thing. It's basically the AI's short-term memory. Thanks to Gemini 1.5 Pro, NotebookLM has a working memory that is 8 times larger than many other really powerful models out there. It's a massive, massive leap in capacity.
And this is the crucial point, right? This isn't just about being bigger, it's about being smarter. It's a qualitative jump. The model can spot a connection between, say, a tiny footnote in one document and the main argument in another document 50 pages away, because it's all in its field of view at the same time. It doesn't have to remember anything, it just sees it all.
So what's the secret sauce that makes this so powerful and efficient? It's a clever architecture called Mixture of Experts, or MOE. Instead of one giant slow brain trying to do everything, think of it like a team of specialists. When you ask a question, Gemini only calls up the most relevant experts for that specific job. So you get the power of a massive model, but with the speed and cost of a much smaller one. It's pretty brilliant, actually.
Okay, so that's the engine. But what actually happens when you upload a document? Let's trace its journey, from the moment you click upload to it becoming this smart, searchable resource.
It's basically a 4-step pipeline. First, the system ingests your file, PDF, doc, whatever, and just cleans it up into pure text. Then it breaks that text down into smart, meaningful paragraphs or chunks. The third step is the magic one: embedding. Each of those chunks gets turned into a string of numbers that captures its meaning. Think of it like a super detailed map coordinate for an idea. And finally, all those coordinates are stored and indexed in a special database so they can be searched in a flash.
And that embedding step is absolutely key. Using one of Google's state-of-the-art models, each piece of your text is turned into this, well, it's a vector with over 3,000 dimensions. It's a way of capturing incredibly nuanced meaning. It's how the system understands concepts, not just keywords. So the phrase "dog bites man" and "canine attacks human" will end up being neighbors in this crazy multi-dimensional space, even though they don't share any of the same words. That's how it gets what you mean.
All right, so your documents are all prepped, indexed, and ready to go. Now for the moment of truth. What happens when you actually ask it a question? Let's break down that query process. It's not as simple as just looking for your words. It's a whole 5-step dance. First, the AI actually rewrites your question internally in a few different ways to make sure it really gets what you're asking. Then, it does a hybrid retrieval to find all the relevant chunks of text. After that, it re-ranks all those results to put the best ones at the top. Step 4, it assembles all that good stuff into a perfect prompt for the Gemini model.
And finally, it generates the answer with citations. And that hybrid retrieval step we mentioned, it's really clever. It's basically the best of both worlds. It uses semantic search, which is all about understanding the meaning and concept behind your words, and it combines it with good old-fashioned keyword search, which is perfect for nailing specific things like names or codes. This combo means you get answers that are both conceptually on point and factually precise.
But really, here's the big payoff. This is what all that engineering is for. The final answer you get isn't just text on a screen. It comes with these clickable, line-by-line citations that point you directly to the exact sentence in your own documents that backs up what it's saying. This isn't just an answer anymore. It's a verifiable, trustworthy synthesis of your own material.
Now, having this incredibly solid, source-grounded foundation doesn't just mean you can ask questions. It opens the door to some really creative, almost magical features. Let's talk about one of the most popular, the one that kind of broke the internet for a bit, the AI podcast generator. I mean, seriously, when this launched, it went viral. People were blown away. The idea that you could take your dense notes or a bunch of research papers and just turn them into an engaging, conversational audio overview, it was a total game changer. It takes all those core ideas, source grounding, synthesis, and wraps them in this super accessible, easy-to-consume package.
So how does it work? Well, it's a three-stage process. First, Gemini reads through all your sources and writes a script, a conversational script between two different speakers that covers the main themes. Then, a whole separate, specialized audio model takes that script and generates two distinct, incredibly natural-sounding voices. And finally, the system layers in realistic conversational timing, the pauses, the back-and-forth rhythm that makes it sound real.
And here's a little fun fact, behind-the-scenes detail that just shows you how deep this tech goes. The script that Gemini writes, it doesn't have any ums or uhs in it. Those filler words, the little hesitations that make it sound so human, they are generated on the fly by the audio model itself to add realism. It's not just reading a script, it's performing it based on how people actually talk.
Okay, so for our last section, let's look at how NotebookLM is starting to peek outside of its box. It's starting to go beyond your own personal documents, but it's doing it in a very careful, very controlled way.
This is a feature they're calling deep research. And you can think of it like turning the AI into a research assistant. You can give it a task, and it will go out and actively search trusted sources on the web. We're talking Google Scholar, PubMed, places like that, to find new, relevant information for you. And the best part? It comes back and gives you a fully formatted report, complete with all the new sources it found.
And this really points to the bigger picture here, the overall strategy. The idea is to move away from these one-size-fits-all generic chatbots and towards something much more powerful, a specialized AI partner, one that understands your specific context, your documents, and ultimately your goals.
Which, of course, brings us to the big final question. When you have a tool that is fundamentally grounded in your truth, that can synthesize huge amounts of it, that can create entirely new ways for you to experience that information, and can even go out and do new research for you, is this the future? Is this how we're all going to learn, research, and create from now on? I don't know for sure, but it definitely feels like a huge step in that direction.